With the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith fast approaching us next year, what better time than now to discuss some 20th anniversary set predictions before the leaks start dripping from the LEGO sewage system. As sort of a precaution, this video is going to be a mix of both wishful thinking and realistic predictions, like what Starfighter are going to go with or the type of battle pack we could potentially see. Some of the set ideas in this video will also be from Revenge of the Sith adjacent media, like Republic Commando and Clone Wars Season 7 for example, that, spice things up a little, but I don't think it's too insanely far out of the realm of possibilities, since according to leaks from this year, we're getting a Darkseid Millennium Falcon and Jedi Bob Starfighter, so it's clear that LEGO are willing to get a little wacky and out there with LEGO stories now, which is a very welcome change of pace. But for a delay, let's start ticking.
This is where the fun begins.
I feel like it's safe to say the LEGO Star Wars mechs will continue into next year, even if it's just a single mech. So let's just rattle off a few. Commander Grey, since the last minifigure was nearly a decade ago. Commander Bly, since we got the visor piece last year. Commander Cody, mainly for a cheap way to get this minifigure. Maybe we could even get a Palpatine hologram piece. Crosshair in his Season 7 armor, since we still haven't gotten that variant. It'd also be cool to get a Season 7 Echo, especially with an accurate prosthetic arm, which they also did not do for his Bad Batch minifigure. I guess too, all these mech ideas could translate into Microfighters, if they still exist next year. Like, Grey could have a turbo tank since the last turbo tank Microfighters in 2014. Bly could have an ATTE, although not really sure how exactly they'd be able to design an ATTE at that scale, which could also work for Cody, I guess. Crosshair could have a Marauder Microfighter, which could easily work for Echo too, but it would make more sense for Crosshair to have the Marauder Microfighter. However, do I think any of these set ideas are likely? No. Just can't see LEGO putting such highly requested minifigures like Facesuit Commander Bly and Grey in such cheap sets. Well, at least before putting them in either an expensive playset or a UCS set. The most obvious battle pack for the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith would of course be a Kashyyyk battle pack, or a Super Kashyyyk battle pack. For a regular battle pack, I could see LEGO making either a Kashyyyk Trooper battle pack or a Wookiee battle pack. The Trooper battle pack could have a simple Scout Walker, as I doubt they would use a Swamp Speeder, since they already used that build fairly recently in the 332nd battle pack. Minifigure wise, the most likely option would of course be a mix of Kashyyyk Troopers and Scouts. The Wookiee battle pack could have a simple barricade build with a bowcaster turret, with 4 Wookiee minifigures. The Super battle pack though would be the preferred choice, as you could have like a mix of clones, Wookiees, and Kashyyyk droids. For the builds, you could have a Kashyyyk Walker for the clones, barricades for the Wookiees, and dwarf spider droids for the droids. Minifigure wise, you could have like 2 Wookiees, 2 Kashyyyk Scouts, or a mix of Kashyyyk Scouts and Troopers, and like 4 Kashyyyk droids that have an even amount of Republic and Separatist forces. Just to try it out there too, a 212 battle pack would be nice, but realistically, that time is probably past, since the ATTE will most likely be retiring, or retired by 2025. Similarly, a 327 battle pack would also be nice, although I doubt they'd include Commander Bly. Now, personally, a battle pack that needs to happen within the next few years is a Clone Commando battle pack. All LEGO would have to do is create a new mold for the helmets and use the bulky armor piece in white with a brick built backpack. And yeah, this is mainly so we can get a Delta Squad battle pack. But yes, I know, it's sacrilegious to some people to put a named character in a battle pack, but how else are we going to get the Delta Squad in a set outside of a battle pack-esque set? They could even make it a Kashyyyk battle pack, since the final hours of the game build up to the invasion in Kashyyyk. Plus, Scorch has made a prominent reappearance in both seasons 2 and 3 of Bad Batch, so it's definitely possible to receive the squad in minifigure form, or just Scorch on his own at the very least. Of course, one of the most important end of Clone Wars battles needs representation through a Death Watch battle pack. You could even make it a super battle with the 332nd Legion or Night Owls. Nearly every year, LEGO tends to give us a Starfighter set as part of the August wave, such as Anakin's Starfighter in 2020 and Obi-Wan's Starfighter from 2022, so it's very likely that next year's August wave will also have a Starfighter set. Now if worst comes to worst, LEGO will give us another Episode 3 Anakin Starfighter, since they pretty much perfected the design back in 2020, so to essentially re-release the same set with slight changes next year will be incredibly disappointing, which unfortunately isn't out of the question, because that's basically how LEGO handled the Yoda Starfighter from last year, just taking the 2017 model and making very minute changes. My hope is for a remake of Obi-Wan's Episode 3 Starfighter from 2015, as there's only been 2 Obi-Wan Starfighters in the past nearly 2 decades. One only available in a retail exclusive in 2005, and a standard retail release in 2015, so it only makes sense to do another next year. Although if they are going to do another Anakin Starfighter, at least let it be the green version, since the last and only one was back in 2012. Shout out to that set too, mad underrated. Throwing it out there too, it would be neat to get a General Grievous Starfighter, although it'd probably be overpriced like in 2020. Okay, hear me out as well. You could also make Grievous' Starfighter a Republic Commando set. Simply put in Delta Squad Grievous and Captain Tarful. Finally, we are in desperate need for a new viewing set, since the last one was back in 2015, similar to Obi-Wan Starfighter. I feel like a clone one is the most obvious choice, but it would be neat to get the Imperial version that we see in Bad Batch Season 3. There are so many possibilities when it comes to playsets. The most likely set off the bat would be the Mustafar Duel, since the last set was back in 2020. But I feel like this would get the diorama treatment. What we really need is an ARC 170. It's insane we still haven't gotten a new version since like 2009. Hell, if we really want to rank it up, ARC 170 versus Plo Koon's Starfighter for like $100. I've already made a set that's directly based on Order 66 this year, so it's definitely not out of the question. Considering every year we get a Republic vehicle playset in August, I think it's fair to say that next year we'll have a high chance of gracing us with a turbo tank, especially since this is a set that hasn't received a remake in nearly a decade, also mainly to get a new Phase 2 Gree. After half a decade and a Microfighter, I feel like this will finally be the time LEGO gives us Rex's Y-Wing, mainly as well because we also haven't gotten a standard Y-Wing set in a long time. Continuing the Season 7 train, a Maul hallway set is a must. The only problem is the violent context of this scene, especially with Disney being very weird about dismemberment, but I could see it potentially happening thanks to the tentative boarding set existing. It would be cool to get an AT-UT with the Galactic Marines, although considering it has less than a minute of screen time, it's really up in the air if LEGO would give us this set or not. Another potential shelf warmer would be the AT-AP, since the last one was back in 2019. Let's be real, out of the 3 Republic Land vehicles mentioned so far, the turbo tank would be the optimal outcome. Let's move back to a set we haven't gotten in the last decade or so, that being Grievous's wheel bike. It'd also be cool to have a wheel bike and Obi-Wan dinosaur combo, or another Order of 66, this time the Fallen variety with Jared DePaul's execution. This would be yet another hallway set with of course Jared DePaul and young Cal Kestis minifigures being led by the 327 Star Corps. Considering we're getting a Cal Kestis minifigure this year along with an Order 66 set, it makes this idea a lot more likely than ever before. Moving into an Imperial space, a Darth Vader transformation set would be very welcome, although this type of set would definitely benefit from being a diorama. I suppose similarly Palpatine's shell is pretty likely since there's only ever been one version of the set. Also really hoping for some droid wrap next year with either a Vulture droid, Tri-Fighter, or droid gunship. Alright, last playset is a bit of a weird one, but Buzz Droid, a buildable figure that you can ball up and roll similar to the Destroyer droid, except the Buzz Droid could pop up like a gigantic Bakugan. The most wanted Revenge of the Sith diorama easily has to be Palpatine's arrest. I feel like LEGO wouldn't go with the entire Jedi team that pulls up to Palpatine, but even if it was just Palpatine, Mace Windu, and Anakin, it'd be worth it. If LEGO wanted to still pump out the microscale diorama sets, at least do something cool and interesting like the Jedi Temple, since it'd be like too grand otherwise if they were to do a large scale Jedi Temple. To go along with the midi-scale Invisible Hand, it's only fitting to get a midi-scale Venator, since the midi-scale Star Destroyers have proven that a ship in similar dimensions is possible at this scale. Similar to the Starship Collection, we need a UCS Invisible Hand to go with a UCS Venator. It could also be with one time LEGO gives us an accurate Grievous cape, and a modern Magma Guard, since the last figure was back in like 2009. Considering LEGO have done a UCS AT-AT, I feel like they could easily pull off a UCS Turbo Tank, ATTE, ATTP, or ATUP. On my hands and knees, LEGO please give us a UCS Marauder. This is generally the only way I could see them giving us Season 2 and Season 3 Bad Batch armor minifigures, since they made 0 sets for Season 2, and I highly doubt they'll do any Season 3 sets in the near future. But a UCS Clone Assassin Starfighter would also be cool, but a playset would be preferable. It'd also be interesting to see how they do a UCS Jedi Interceptor. Enough said. Now, do I think any of these sets are likely? Maybe like 75% tops. I doubt LEGO would turn to Republic Commando due to how obscure the game is, which is a sad reality, especially with Scorch's untimely fate in Bad Batch Season 3. Final prediction though, the anniversary brick is going to have Anakin and Obi-Wan clashing on Mustafar as a print. Throwing that out there. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to stay notified for my future LEGO set reviews. And if you want to help the channel financially, consider becoming a channel member for only €2 a month. Until next time, see ya.